Coming at you live from Studio K. You are now listening to Rambling with Ryan.
All right, welcome to the podcast, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. 3 weeks. It's been a long time since I did a podcast. You've been, it's been what, 4 or 5 since you've been on last?
4 or 5 weeks?
I think so. Oh, no, so you were on the last one. Yeah, that I didn't post. Sorry, everybody, but it was just not postable.
Thanks for inviting me over for a podcast when you guys are all wasted.
Yeah. Hey, I told you to come over earlier.
No, we had an appointment.
For 5:30. Yeah, and I was
then
here.
And then you text me at like noon, said, hey, we're just in the podcast room hanging out.
Yeah.
You want to come over? And I'm like, no, I'm at work. And then I got here at 5:30.
Move your mic
and
in.
you guys...
We were drunk.
Not in a chatty mood. More of a screaming mood.
Well, we needed to get ready for you.
But we did have one major debate.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
Oh!
It's not.
Don't like to talk about your losses, do we?
It's not a loss. I'll talk about it, but it's just.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Can we at least explain the debate first?
Sure.
The debate was.
Let's see if he actually says what it was.
Actually, there were several debates. This argument morphed.
Yes, it did. That's
Overall,
what happened.
I feel the general feel of the argument was who was more successful and recognizable as a band. Either Ray Charles or, specifically when talking about recognizable, we were talking about Jim Morrison. But when talking about successful, we were talking about the band The Doors.
Yes.
I said The Doors.
I say Ray Charles.
Coco also said he thinks globally when it comes to let's I only know my genre. Even though we've had many of these arguments.
Okay, hold on. We need to preface this with the fact that obviously things were said in that podcast without much thought.
Wow.
Yes. When you say it like that, globally over your genre, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah.
But overall, my view, I still think Ray Charles is more widely known than The Doors worldwide, I would say. I mean, I don't know. I don't think, honestly...
Record sales would disagree.
No, the problem is there are no record sales for Ray Charles. You can't find his numbers. I honestly looked for hours. You cannot find his numbers. I don't understand why. Like, there's nothing.
I'm sure they would have been on that site that I sent you was a pretty... That's as close as you're going to get as to an accurate thing. It was like source checked
list.
by 3 different...
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I find it extremely hard to believe
charts.
that with the amount of records that Ray Charles put out and the length of time he's been around, that he's not on that list.
Yeah, but there are other bands like Van Morrison. I think he's put out more albums than anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny. That just like takes you to another conversation. It's funny how there's these artists that, like, to me, Van Morrison is like, I think of maybe like 4 or 5 albums, right? Because I think of one kind of like
sound.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
never stopped.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, like, people just lose interest, right? Like some fans.
I feel like those guys have their fans, and their fans like stick with them.
Mm-hmm. I also think...
But maybe they stop doing things that draw attention. Like, they stop making hits.
Yes.
See, there's kind of a thing, like, there's interviews with, like, a few artists I've heard where they're, like, Sting being one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy who wrote all the songs for the Police and had a super successful solo career. And he said there came a point where he kind of figured out the secret formula, and he could write hit after hit after hit if he wanted to. Like those poppy, like, catchy songs that everybody loves. But he said after a little while, he got kind of bored of that, and then he wanted to do his own thing. And he carried on making music even up to, like, now. Music I'm sure that he enjoys more, but it doesn't really get any radio play because it doesn't have that, like, sound. Yeah. Which I'm sure he hasn't probably forgot how to do that, but he's... Who knows how much fucking money Sting has at this point. He doesn't need to do it. He doesn't want to do it. He's not interested in making the, like, snappy radio hits.
He's made his money. He's put his name, on the map, and now he just wants to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think you see that with almost all probably successful artists, right?
Maybe not all, but, like, you could say, like, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, those guys.
Yeah.
The Stones, when they put out new stuff, they still have
Tom
like
Petty
the poppy
But
radio hit.
I also wonder if
Sometimes that stuff gets really boring, though. Good example, AC/DC.
Well, they play their music is basically
their songs all sound the same.
It's tough for them.
They make those like radio hits.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't tell the difference between their new song and their song from 10 years ago.
No.
It sounds the same.
They sound the
Nickelback.
same. Yeah.
Another example.
I don't even listen to Nickelback.
No, but you hear the songs when they put out a new album, and it's like another radio hit. They've done that I don't know how many times throughout like the 2000s up until now. But it doesn't sound much different than the last one. They just have that secret formula, which like, oh yeah, you could, I don't know, makes you work a little faster if you're on a work site when you hear those ones come on. But there's nothing really there. You get bored of them quick, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it too is it's not even so much like you were saying their core fans stay with them. I think that they also you lose fans because your music changes and people they lose interest, they find it boring. But I think you also gain a different type of fan, someone who's maybe older enjoys a different type of music now, right? Probably not as many, but I do think that like when their music changes, I think they still will attract new fans. It would just be a different group of people. Yeah,
I don't know. I find older people very staunch with their music selection, and what they liked when they were in their 20s is what they listen to now.
I think everybody's like that, though. We're going to be like that. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I can already see it in myself. New stuff that comes out. I still like some stuff,
yeah,
but there's still.
But you also get more picky too, though.
Yes, 100%. You don't
right?
want, a lot of it is.
You don't go for the big hits where like this one's going to #1, and you don't get caught up in the hysteria of it. You're like, you listen to it, and you're like, well, I like that guy's voice, or I don't. And the older you get too, the more when you do like find someone new that you like, it's typically not like a hit maker. No, it's something a little slower.
They probably already got 3 or 4 albums.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
which is really
They're
well
established.
made. Like maybe got a unique sound, interesting lyrics. Mm-hmm. I guess you're going for more sophisticated music.
Yeah.
Not fucking.
Well, I'm still susceptible to like the
Barbie
catchy
Girl
beats and stuff like that. I still like it, stuff that when you go to the bar or the whatever pub you're gonna dance to and have a good time. But above that, like what I generally listen to, it's got to have some kind of substance. There's got to be something about it that there's got to be some talent there.
Yeah, like that
you feel.
Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats, their new song. Yeah. That's a different sound.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
I also think he
Yeah, we've had this discussion.
Yeah, we have.
But that's something when I listen to that, I'm like, this is kind of refreshing. He's got like a gospel thing going on. Yep. And it sounds untypical.
It sounds untypical, but I guess the reason I don't jump all over it I don't think it's any different than a pop song in the sense that it's gimmicky.
I don't think so.
Son of a bitch! Like that, it's gimmick. It's got a gimmick to it. But on top of that,
it's got a lot going on. There's brass instruments. There's drums. Exactly where I was going cymbals. With it. The lyrics are
the talent
good too.
is behind it.
The singing is really good.
But that's what you have to do to make a hit, right? It doesn't matter whether you're talented or not.
I don't know. I think
these days to make a hit, to catch people's attention, to really you might like it. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that song
has a lot of radio play.
It's what I'm talking about. That song has actually reached everybody. It's gotten quite popular.
I wonder what it is on. What chart would you put that on?
We'll be on Billboard. Yeah. I bet you.
I wonder how high that one's got. They say Bowie's album is going to knock off Adele from #1, who's been in #1
his new one,
well, been at #1 for 3 months.
Pretty genius to drop that.
Pretty genius. The guy's fucking died, man. It wasn't a.
Yeah, but dude, okay, it's that old saying. How does it go?
No. It is okay. Maybe there might be a little bit of that. I feel like the guy found out he had cancer.
What's the saying though? For people listening, fuck, I can't even.
Taking advantage of
if you don't
use of an opportunity. Something. I know what you're saying. I don't know what the saying is. It's not coming to me.
Basically, you why wouldn't you? I don't blame the guy.
Well, he's not reaping any benefit from it, though.
No, but his family, whoever his next of kin.
He's not seeing any financial benefit. He's also not seeing any hype for it. But that really doesn't do anything.
It's still his legacy.
I guess, but there's nothing. He doesn't get to see it. For all he knows, it's a fucking flop.
He doesn't need to see it. He knows. Like, I'm not saying it might not even have been his idea, but I guarantee you,
I bet you it
when
was.
his
It's
promoters
his goodbye
came
album.
to him and said, "Look, like you're on death's door. Let's."
Nobody said he.
You don't think so?
No, I think he was like, I don't even know. I haven't looked into it at all. The story I have made in my own head is that he finds out he's got cancer. He's like, seems like he didn't want it. It must have been like a real severe, like a aggressive type of cancer. Decides not to fight it. This is not fact. I'm just speculating. Says, I want to make one more album. Gets the shit done. And then he dies. And is released just a few days before he dies.
That, yeah, I don't know. It gets released in a few days, but I guarantee, like, he was working on the album, and I'm sure they, somewhere in their mind, they were like, the closer we release this to when he dies, like the better it'll
I bet
be.
you, even if they would have released it before Christmas,
You know what?
I bet you
A few months, yeah, it's probably not going to make a difference because
No.
people are still, it's still going to be out there, and people are still going to be searching
Yeah,
Bowie,
here's his
and
new
they're
album.
still
When
going to
he
see
dies,
that he just had
They
an.
find out it's
Yeah.
his goodbye,
Fair enough.
album.
Yeah. So that.
Yeah, we a little toast to David Bowie.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Cheers. Yeah,
That
he
guy's been around for a
definitely.
long time.
He definitely was a pioneer. That's for damn sure.
I feel like he may be one of the first to go. Right now, we're looking at a probably an extinction of a lot of the 1960s and 70s rock stars. Probably within, definitely, certainly before we get to 2030, almost all of them will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're all.
What did you say when we get to 30?
No, by the time we get to 2030.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was like,
almost
we're
all,
already
all
30,
of
man.
them, yeah, but most of them are in their 70s.
Yeah.
Ozzy, McCartney, Ringo, I don't know, all those guys. The Pink Floyd guys, I mean, some of them are already gone. The rest of Led Zeppelin, they're all in that like age bracket where people usually. I
Yeah.
think the life expectancy
You're
for a
gonna-
man's like 74, 75.
You're gonna
and most of those guys are like 70 now. Bowie was 69.
Yeah.
So
But-
if you haven't seen him by now, probably not gonna. And Bowie was on my hit list. I never got to see him. I remember he came. I want to say it was in 2010. Actually, may have been earlier than that. 2008. He did a show in Vancouver, and for whatever reason, I decided I'll see him next time. So that was actually no, it was 2006. So 10 years ago. So he was 59 at that time. I'm like, oh, he's not that old. I'll get him the next time. Fucking guy never came back. He had like a massive heart attack after that. Never did tour again. Only did one-off shows here and there.
Yeah.
And oh well, can't
Yeah.
see them all. But he was one of the great performers, though. And
Yeah.
he reached a level of stardom, like he superstar all over the world.
Yeah.
That guy, but always stayed out of like the magazines, the tabloids, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's respectable for sure. There's not many people who can reach that level of stardom and stay. I mean, they're still going to be in the media a little bit here and there, but to like stay.
You
out of
didn't
the
hear much
crap-
about him, like aside from his music, Bowie.
Oh no, almost never.
No, I suppose, but he lived pretty well back in the day.
Yeah, but the difference. Okay, no. Here's the thing.
Sometimes
though.
he was gay, sometimes he was straight.
You take David Bowie from 1960 whatever to his like him like in his heyday. You take that and start it in like 2000 or 2005 when social media. He is 100% all over social media.
Probably.
There's no way. It was just a different time, right? It was a lot easier back then, I think. For super, do you think like back then, the one? Like,
I don't know. They used to get busted by cops a lot back then.
Yeah. The only
and
one that,
railroaded.
like, other than Michael Jackson, Elvis, but those are like, they're kind of in a league of their
Above-
own,
yeah.
right? Like, well, and then we talked about like last week, the Beatles. They all, other than, I mean, they all stayed pretty sane.
I would say so.
Yeah.
But they got to split the fame 4 ways.
Exactly.
Even
it's
though,
probably a lot easier that way.
even though like the Beatles collectively were like easily as famous or more famous than Elvis, I would say. But at least there was 4 of them that stick together and help make decisions, keep their heads clear, bounce ideas off of each other.
Do you think it's harder now for people, for stars to stay sane, to keep a level head, like because of the availability of contact?
I don't know. You've seen a lot more from just friggin' in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Hendrix, Morrison, Joplin.
Hit 20. Well, you still see them happening now.
Well, Scott Weiland, he was like 48 though.
Yeah,
there isn't that many. Scott Weiland.
Who was the last mid late 20s star to pass? Well, what's her name?
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the same old song and dance. And
yeah.
She was 27.
Yeah.
Before there was quite a few of them in the 90s.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain. Guy from Sublime.
Mm-hmm.
Guy from Alice in Chains.
So I wonder, how many have been in the 2000s? I wouldn't even.
I can think of Amy Winehouse.
Let's see.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
So I would say overall they're probably handling it better.
Maybe. Okay, you know what's crazy? I'm just looking at the Billboard Top 200 Albums list.
Yeah.
And some of the albums, Queen, Greatest Hits, number 79, still in the last week, is the 79th highest selling albums. Yeah, I know, but even still, okay, so you also got you're not a fan, but there's 2 Eminem albums that are in the one of them's 10. Where'd they go? I just had them.
See, you always wonder what happened. Did those albums
104 and Journey's Greatest Hits 101, Back in Black 100. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't. Did those albums just get released on iTunes or something? Or
no,
were they unavailable before?
No, it's just. I think you're right with. Yeah, Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats is number 66.
It's pretty good.
Not
I wonder
bad.
how much money you make off of getting the number 66.
Trying to see here. Metallica. How old is that album?
Wasn't that their first album?
I don't know.
The 80s?
Is it? Well, that one's number 64. That's to me, that's unreal that these albums
kind of says that music today is really sucking if all of those old ones are still on there.
Yeah.
That's what I get from that.
They're all lower, but yeah, I mean, you 100% you can make that argument. I mean, I don't know about I don't think it sucks. What I think is that there's a large majority that sucks. There's still I think there's more good music out right now than there's ever been. I just think you have to sift through so much more crap now to find it. Because man, I hear about new bands and new people to check out every day that are good. I don't have time to listen to them all.
The one thing I miss about the old days is when a band started to catch fire, they would really become a phenomenon, and everybody would know about them, and maybe on the radio. No, it only happens with pop stars now.
No,
it doesn't happen with rock stars.
Sure, it does.
Who?
Kings of Leon. All of a sudden, they just took off.
Yeah, they did, but mostly it happens more with pop stars, and particularly females.
Alabama Shakes did pretty good.
No. You wouldn't put them up there with Kings of Leon.
No, okay, yeah, fair enough. No, they're not at the same level as them.
No, close. They're not filling. Alabama Shakes isn't filling arenas.
No,
Kings of Leon
fair
did.
enough.
That's what I meant. The only ones that fill arenas now, I feel, typically, it's female pop stars.
Yeah.
And there's not even that many of them.
So you've got
there's a dozen of them.
Top 10. I don't never even heard of these people, but so top 10 albums right now. Adele number 1.
Yep.
Justin Bieber number 2. Then you've got 21 Pilots. Never heard of them.
Nope.
The Weeknd. He's pretty big. Rachel Platten. To be honest, never heard of her. One Direction. Then that Chris Stapleton guy is number 7. That guy who sings JT.
Yeah.
Then Fetty Wap's a rapper. And then number 10 is Taylor Swift.
But how many of those could fill stadiums? Do you think all of them?
Taylor Swift
could.
No, not all of them.
No.
Fetty Wap would not here. In some places he'd fill stadiums.
Okay, in
the
a
States,
big city,
but not here. Even in Vancouver, what I'm saying is Vancouver he wouldn't. I would say in Vancouver you've got Taylor Swift, One Direction, The Weeknd. Even him, I don't know. Obviously Justin Bieber and Adele. So 5 out of the 10 I would sell maybe. Would possibly sell out.
So
GM
just
players.
pop stars, not really any.
They're
rock
all
stars.
basically pop stars. Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with that. I mean,
and the ones that could sell arenas, female.
A lot of them, yeah.
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 Funny, eh? It's just a trend.
Right now, I mean,
I'm not really into any of that music.
when you look at like the 2000s, it was a lot more of like the boy bands and the
in the 2000s, you think? In the 90s,
late 90s,
well, late
early
90s,
2000s.
early 2000s, yeah.
Right?
Early 90s was still grunge.
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s, definitely.
That's when
boy
they,
bands.
yeah. Like, what happened? What is it that changed?
I feel like they started making formulas for good music.
That started in the 80s.
They started making, bringing multiple writers to all work on one song and find that like beat and that sound.
Yeah.
That's why this has always been the core of my argument. When we get into these music arguments, you're always saying how talented these people are. But I find the songs, most of them, empty. Like there's not much.
But maybe
to
you
them.
just don't
But
relate to them,
I
though.
can no, I can hear like how it's catchy, but it doesn't really interest me, and it doesn't. I wouldn't pay money to hear it. They sound like adverts.
But I'm the same way.
To me, they're like adverts. They're like that. They bring like like a commercial on TV. They like try and catch you and bring you in and keep your attention. And they become super popular, but they also burn out fast. You're gonna sneeze.
But I don't disagree with you on that. But
there's just nothing there.
I
songs,
think
that's why I'm always saying no one will listen to those songs in the future because they're like hollow. They feel, even when I listen to them, they feel to me like trickery.
Okay.
Like someone's trying to get the money out of your wallet.
Yeah.
That's what I hear when I hear those.
I understand
like the
that.
Katy Perry's, the
Yeah,
Beyoncé's.
of course.
Like they're just tricky, snappy. They might as well be made for a Pepsi commercial.
Okay. You make I think you make
they're not singing with hearts.
Great point.
They're not.
But I
making
disagree with you on
points.
that because I think like you don't like rap and whatever. That's fine. I understand that. But there is a lot of very good rap out there. But once again, you got to sift through a lot of crap. Someone like Kendrick Lamar, like I'm not from the hood. I don't know what it's like living up there. But I guarantee you, people from that area who listen to his music go, "This guy's a fucking poet." Yeah. This guy's, the way he puts his words together and what he's saying, I can pick up on some of it, and I can appreciate his talent, and that's why I like it. But I don't understand it to the point of a lot of it from like where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of it. That's what I've been thinking about a lot lately with music. Is like maybe some of this stuff, like even Beyonce, she's fucking crazy talented. Yeah, her lyrics.
But it's like a song and a dance and an outfit.
I agree.
Like there's more than just
it's
a
show.
Like if you took Beyonce out of the picture and you weren't watching a music video and you weren't seeing her appearance and you weren't seeing her dance moves and you weren't seeing her clothes.
Yeah.
That would take a lot away from the actual
100%,
song.
but that's what they figured out is that for these live shows, who cares?
But I'm not into that.
Well, I'm not either. I'm not a big fan of those kinds of shows. I mean, I wouldn't even go see if any rapper, like I'll go to a rap show at like the Commodore. I've been to a few and they're really good. But I went to one at GM Place. I would never go to a rap show in a big stadium.
Yeah.
Never. It's just not, it's not meant for that. Like, to me, that kind of music.
Well, I think even rock and roll is not really meant for stadiums. Stadium rock is kind of like a funny thing. Well, some kind
is. I don't think there's much of that. There's not really stadium.
I don't think people sit down and write songs that will like go over well in the stadium.
Not anymore, but they used to. That's why the 80s were so huge.
The 80s weren't even that huge. I find you have to sift through a lot of shit to get the good stuff in the 80s too. I don't find like a whole...
You don't think...
I find more stuff... I find... I like a lot of stuff from the late 60s, early 70s. I find good stuff, but not as much in the 80s through most of it. I felt like music came back pretty strong actually through like the early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Like all that grunge stuff, I like that quite a bit.
Yeah,
and then since like I don't know, 97, it just plummeted. But I feel like there's some bright spots in it right now, though, but that's coming back. But the thing about it is the whole thing has changed with the internet. That the bright spots, music's so much more specialized now to a specific audience, and you're never going to see a lot of those people turn into arena rock, selling out
you're never
arenas.
Gonna see a
They're going to be
Shaky
selling
Graves or
out
anything like that.
He'll never
No.
sell out an arena.
No, but here's the thing: is what I was saying with that point. I'm not saying that the '80s was great music. What I'm saying is the '80s, '70s, '80s, little bit in the '90s, they had arena rock. There is no arena rock anymore, and that's
that was
why.
like a genre.
I would never go see. There's not many bands I listen to now that I would go see in an arena. It wouldn't be.
Well,
they
never
don't
sell
have
enough
that
tickets
kind of
anyway.
sound.
Yeah.
It's not like. I don't know.
And the ones that do, they usually burn out pretty quick. Whatever happened to Kings of Leon? Are they still making
Oh,
music?
yeah, they're still around.
If they came today, I don't know if they would sell a GM Place.
Sure they would.
You think so? No, I don't know. When was the last time
you
they
know what?
released an
It'd be
album?
close. I think it'd be close. I think they have enough hits that people would go see them. I think that they've made a big enough name for themselves. Is what I don't know when their last album was. I think they just had one actually fairly recently, but I mean they have a big enough following and they've had enough hits that I think they would still.
Okay. Did you finish Making of a Murderer?
No, I haven't. Finished
No?
it. I'm at episode. I finished episode 4, I think.
You only get to
But
4,
I know
right?
what happens. Like I know.
Yeah,
the
I know,
ending,
but you gotta see the whole thing to
I
have an
know.
opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I know I haven't watched enough of it yet. It's tough because when you're watching it with someone else all the time, you can't just go and binge watch it when you have time. It's unfortunate.
You gotta have appointments.
So we both have to be home, and unfortunately, it's tough.
Is Ashley liking it?
Yeah, and she
That
it
it is a compelling crime show.
is, and what sucks about it is
But
that
it doesn't really leave you, like, it's not a cliffhanger show. It's not sucking
No,
you
no,
into,
no.
like,
It's
what
just so
happened.
much-
It's just a lot, I don't know what it is. Somehow it gets you.
continually you're going, what? Really?
Yeah.
How are they allowing this? How like throughout the whole every episode, you're just baffled over and over again by how many mistakes and how much stuff is just being pushed aside and
I haven't seen, like, a documentary get this much attention.
that's
for,
the
like, a
problem.
long
That's why
time.
people like me who started watching it only like a week ago, I'm 4 episodes in, for any other show, that's pretty good. But for this show, you needed to be within a week watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
You already know the end. They're already coming out with all of these things saying how biased it was.
Oh, I believe you could tell that while you're watching.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Like there's some facts that just like just disappear. I can't remember. Have you gotten to the part with like the blood in the car in that yet?
Yeah.
Like where they have the vial in the police station. Okay.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah. The blood that was in like the little smear in the car, or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
But you didn't see like where that came from yet.
I can't
You would
remember.
know. It was a huge part of it. Okay,
No.
so I won't spoil it for you. I can't remember what point I was going to make anyway.
Either way, it's pretty insane already at 4 episodes. How and like
I remember. I was
the way I think about it, so just the way I think about it, with what I know now already about what actually happened, and this new woman who just came out, his wife or whatever, who came out, his girlfriend,
Right.
and said he's
She
definitely
did it?
thinks he did
I've
it,
seen that,
and
yeah.
he's abusive and blah blah blah. I think they knew he was guilty, but they had like they couldn't find what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it all happened. Seems like it all happened pretty quick. But it's like they knew he was guilty and they wanted this guy put away because he was dangerous. And they were
But why would they think he was dangerous?
well, all the shit apparently that he's done. Like I mean, it's only a few things have come out, like the fucking cat thing and
But that was
whatever
also
else.
when he was like a teenager.
yeah, true. But how much stuff have we not heard about that they know about in that town of whatever 60,000 people?
Yeah, well, he's
right?
definitely like kind of a degenerate.
Sociopath. They call him, right?
Social what?
Sociopath.
Well, I don't know because he was exonerated from the entire first one. Was not his.
And that's the part that I wonder
That
how
just
much
shows
that
you-
fucked him up, right? How much is that the reason
being in
why?
jail for 18 years? How much
Yeah.
does that fuck you up?
But
when you
how
didn't
much
do
is
it?
that of
Probably
that-
quite a bit.
Disconnect you from what's right and wrong? Like what he did or what they say he did to this woman. Does being in jail for 18 years change you that much in the way that you would do something like that when you wouldn't have before? I don't know about that. I still think you'd know right from wrong. I still think you would know that's doing like if you were someone who would do that, you're gonna do it still when you get out. If you weren't before you went into jail, what I'm saying. I don't think that 18 years is gonna change that part of you. You're not just gonna all of a sudden want to hurt people.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of cases before in the past where people have been like wrongly jailed and they come out and they don't start murdering people.
The biggest thing so far from like the episodes I've watched is there's no blood in the bedroom.
Yeah, that was huge.
Like that, like as soon as they say that their throat was slit, you're like, there's no blood in the bedroom.
And there's no way that place got cleaned immaculately.
And then when you watch the interrogation of the kid, you're just like, well, fuck, you guys fucked yourself right there. Like, the guy should be innocent right there.
And it took him like 4 tries to find that key in his trailer.
Yeah.
The car key.
Yeah. No, I think it was 2. It was just they came in once, they didn't see it.
2?
They came back.
I thought it was like, no, it was more than that.
Was it?
And that suspicious cop found it too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just too much fuckery.
There is a lot of fuckery, which is what makes it interesting. Because at the very end of it, you don't know what to believe. He definitely still could have done it.
Yeah,
but the way it was portrayed and the way the investigation went down, it doesn't leave you 100% certain.
I can't believe there's 12 fucking episodes. I'm at 4. I'm like, how much more is there than this?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know what gets me though is his 2 lawyers that he has. Those 2 guys. I can't remember what their names are right now. Pretty smart guys. Pretty on the ball.
Well, they were only his lawyers for the civil suit you're talking about.
No. Well, they're his lawyers.
They have he has different sets of lawyers.
Yeah, so he had for the second criminal trial.
Yeah,
he has those 2 guys, Jerry Buting, and the other one,
the guy who's got like the glasses, looks pretty dorky, dark hair.
Yeah,
younger dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking like the 2 older dudes.
So he's in the criminal trial. He's the lawyer, and there's another one. And those guys seem pretty smart to me, and pretty honest guys, and they're both convinced that he's innocent. That says a lot.
I don't think I have a hard time believing a lawyer with anything because they're not looking. The reason
I feel like those guys are respectable.
The reason they're good lawyers is because they are able to separate all emotion,
look at the facts,
and only look at facts. Yes, but I also think they're only looking at things in a way to try and win the case.
Yeah, but I think their overall feeling is that he didn't do it, and they have to prove it.
I find that I'm not saying they don't, but I find that hard to believe. It's not something that I would base my opinion on whether he was or wasn't, because they're lawyers. They're still, at the end of the day, they're lawyers. They're trying to win a case. It's a documentary, but they still know at some point they might have to retry this or whatever down the road. They're doing a documentary.
Well, no, they're only going to retry it if they get paid for it. Paid for, that contract's been completed.
But they still need to present the idea, and they still need to present, in their opinion, that he's innocent. Because if all of a sudden...
after the trial's done, like I've seen the episode afterwards...
Yeah, no. I know.
And that's still their opinion, is that he's innocent.
No, I know, but the reason they're filming all of this is because, like, in this Netflix thing, they're trying to get him a retrial.
No, those guys aren't. They're not being paid anymore. They have nothing to do with it anymore. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I still think they, as a lawyer, they cannot come out against someone they...
No, they can.
No.
They can do that. That first guy that was trying Brendan Dassey there, or being his lawyer, the shyster guy, the Kaczynski or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was like totally against him.
Yeah.
That guy was a douchebag.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But... Like, I know...
I feel like for a lawyer, that's not good for business.
No! That's not what you're supposed to do.
Like, you need to... Like, what I'm saying is you need to keep your... No.
You're supposed to be defending him against the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Not setting him up. But when the court goes to trial, I think 7 out of the 12... How many people are in the jury? I think it's 12 jurymen.
Usually, I think
12. When they first went to start their debate to see if after the trial's over, the jury gets their time to do whatever. 7 out of the 12, when they walked in the room, said not guilty. And over the course of a week or 2 during deliberation, it switched, and they decided he was guilty. But the jury's first feeling after the trial, before they got to talk back and forth, and deliberate, when they all walked out of the courtroom and into the chamber where they deliberate, They did it a show of hands, and 7 not guilty, and 5 guilty.
That's tough. That's one of the biggest. Like that's one of the big issues with the legal system. Like how we're too. As much as we want to think that we can separate emotion in that situation, you can't. As much as you want to separate the fact that you look at the guy and he looks guilty, that 100% plays into your psyche and how you receive information and what you believe and how you look at stuff.
Yeah, a better way to do it would be, first of all, you have to have a completely impartial jury, which in a case like that is impossible. Which is why I'm surprised
that 7 people actually said they thought he was not. I haven't seen it all, so I don't know what evidence is presented, right? I don't know the rest of it, so we'll see.
Well, maybe they don't actually, there's different ways to look at that too, right? So you could say, maybe in the back of their head, they're like, well, I think this guy may have done it, but with the evidence given to me in the trial, I can't say with a reasonable doubt based on this evidence that he did it.
Without,
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that may not, that some people are able to go like, I don't care what I've seen in the paper, based on the evidence provided in the trial, what I have to base my opinion on, or these set of things, I can't say that he's guilty.
Yeah.
Because it's within a reasonable doubt.
That'd be a tough position to be in.
Yeah, well, that's probably why they deliberated for like 2 weeks.
Was it that how long they deliberated for?
I think it was something like that. It was more than a week anyway.
Wow.
It might have been 10 days. I can't remember.
Wonder what the longest deliberation process ever was.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember OJ's was quite a while.
Was it?
I feel like it was, yeah. God knows how he ever got off that one. This probably could be the biggest trial or the biggest case. Well, the trial was like a while back now. But this might be the most interesting murder case since OJ.
It is very interesting, but who knows what else is out there? When you see something like this from one smaller town in the States, there's got to be more like this. There has to be.
There'll be lots. Lots and lots.
Let's see here. I'm looking up the longest deliberations.
Yeah, well, they don't have a time limit on it. It take however the length of time you need to come up with an accurate statement. That's how much time they give you. But usually people are eventually like, I can't take this anymore. So whatever, you want to make him guilty? He's fucking guilty. I want to go home and see my kids.
So in 1992, there was a lawsuit that accused city officials of violating the U.S. Fair Housing Act by conspiring to prevent Shirley McClure and her son Jason.
We need to read all the details.
Just hold on. From opening a chain of residential homes for Alzheimer patients in upscale Long Beach neighborhoods. So kind of like I don't know, not something you would think. The case took 11 years to get to trial, 6 months to get through testimony, and 4.5 months of deliberation.
I don't know what the heck those guys talked about for all that time. Really, it sounds to me like there was one guy sitting at one end of the table, another guy sitting at the other end of the table, and both of them got their back up, and neither one of them was budging. I'm not agreeing with that, asshole. Until eventually, one of them, after 4.5 months, one of them caved.
Yeah. I don't know. Would you want to go to... would you want to be in a jury?
No.
Ever?
No. Why? I mean, yeah, you get paid in that, I guess. But it's a massive interruption into your life.
Get paid. You have your own business. You wouldn't get paid shit.
Yeah, so no. Fuck that.
But you wouldn't...
If they called me for jury duty, I would say I was biased. They're like, are you racist? Yes. Do you like gay people? No. All right, get this guy out of here. He's not going to give us a valid opinion.
Let me make sure I clip that out and post that.
No, well, those are in fact. I'm just saying that.
People.
I'm just saying that's what I would say if I had to take one of those jury surveys, just so I could get out of it.
I think it'd be interesting though.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah, if you had nothing to do.
That's what I'm saying.
But I got things to do.
Okay. Put that fucking aside. Obviously, when I ask this question, it's hypothetical. If you didn't have to worry about everything else, financially you were set, would you want to be involved in a jury for a trial?
Yeah, for a Stephen Avery case, I guess so. But most likely you're going to get some fucking traffic violation case.
Well, I don't think those go to trial like that.
Or some other bullshit like property management. And you're going to have to learn about property management for 6 fucking months. And then deliberate for 4 months. How much fun does that sound like to you?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah!
It would have to be like a murder case or something like that. But it's still probably, to hear all the details, that'd be pretty tough.
I would imagine it would be disturbing and not fun. Really, if you're thinking, if you're going to a courthouse every day thinking about murder all day long, seeing people get up on the stands crying, and there's a fucking murderer in the room, and you've got to decide what's going to happen to him. That doesn't sound like any bit of fun to me.
No.
I can get what I need to get from this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
That's as close to being a jury member.
Did you watch the Soaked in Bleach?
It kind of makes me want to be a lawyer a little bit, because I do like to argue.
Yeah, I know.
And I do like to prove people wrong.
Too much paperwork. Trust me. That was the problem when me and Joe did our
Yeah, I don't
thing.
like paperwork,
It's way
though.
too much paperwork, man. And they're like percentage of lawyers who go to court, it's like 1% or like 2, like it's very low.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Most lawyers do not ever. Most cases that involve lawyers, like
it's just
90 plus
just legal
it's just
paperwork.
It's just paperwork. It's just settling things behind doors. Very few actual cases go to court.
You gotta be a pretty smart motherfucker to be like a prosecutor or a defense attorney, like for high profile cases, right?
Yeah.
You got to be really well spoken. You got to know your shit. You got to be able to think on the fly. You got to be able to in some way, you know.
I don't know how much
you've
of it
gotta
is
be
think
able
on
to
the-
You've got to be able to get like a jury into your head, into your realm of speaking. You've got to be able to convey things in a certain way without stuttering that starts leading a jury down like a thought process.
You need to be able to manipulate.
Yeah, there's manipulation.
Right? But I think it's a lot of it is just preparation, man. A lot of it is to me. I almost relate it to coaching, where like say in an NFL in the Super Bowl, this coach against that coach. You have a game plan. He has a game plan. You're trying to figure out what he's going to do and counter that. It's basically the same thing. You're trying to counter what you think the other opposing side is going to do.
Yeah, there's so many more variables in like coaching, like sports and that though. Like really, when it comes down to like lawyering like that, it's almost all cerebral. Like the whole entire goal is to get the jury to see your point of view.
Yes, but you still have to have an answer to his point of
but
attack.
It all lies on your
have
shoulders.
Your offense,
it doesn't matter if you're a coach and your fucking team shits the bed, you're still fucked. Like being like a lawyer, it's all on your shoulders. You're the only one that's getting to speak and ask the questions.
Well, no, because your team are the people. Your team are
It's
your
the jury?
witnesses.
Yeah, but they still have to execute the plan.
Yeah, so do your players.
Yeah, the lawyer has to execute the plan.
Yeah, so does the coach.
No, the team has to execute the plan.
So do so do the people on the stand.
Okay, the lawyer does not have a team.
Sure he does. His witnesses. The people he prepares to put on the stand, that's his team.
Okay, I'm not going to get in this with you. This is
you're
a stupid
getting-
argument. You
no.
have taken an analogy
You're
too
picking
far.
you're picking up what I'm throwing down here.
Okay, I'll give up on this one. I'll take my Doors and Ray Charles win.
You didn't get a win.
You can have your lawyer fucking coach analogy.
There's no win here. How?
Yes, there is a win. We looked into it.
You don't see that? Like maybe because you don't watch a lot of sports. That might be the problem.
It just seemed like that. Not that great of an analogy.
It's a very good analogy.
All right. Well,
in my
just
opinion.
leave it at that.
You're going head to head with what you have to work with. You have
Except
your evidence.
if you lose the game, nobody spends their life in jail.
No, okay, obviously the fucking end situation is different. But as far as your head-to-head matchup, it's basically the same thing.
I don't look at it at all as coaching.
We're gonna have to ask some other people on this who actually follow sports, and I feel like I have some very valid points. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to move on to something else, and this is because this is kind of, this leads. You're born in Britain. Did you know that just recently, Britain has basically made a section of an area that is legal to prostitute. Prostitution is now legal in this one area of Leeds from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And they've basically got like a watch to keep it safe for prostitutes. I guess not that long ago there was a murder, and their solution to it was to legalize prostitution in this one area, have people watch over that area to keep it safe from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
I did not hear about that. Sounds like a good idea.
I think that's a fucking great idea, and I hope that the stats come out.
Beats the hell out of drag addicts standing on the corner in short skirts.
100%.
Could we sophisticate this up a little, please?
Could you see that ever
It's the
happening?
21st century. Yeah, I can see that happening in Vancouver. We have fucking legal injection sites.
Yeah, in Vancouver.
Vancouver's, I find, with some stuff is ahead of the curve.
Weed. For some reason,
No.
Seattle
I would
beat
say
us to weed.
I would say who did?
Seattle. And
Yeah,
America,
okay.
and
Well, I mean,
Washington.
the city of Vancouver can only do so much when it comes to federal laws.
True.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, as far as tolerance and that, it is pretty.
It's pretty
ahead
tolerated.
of the curve, yeah.
And same with like the legal injection sites. I don't know any statistics on any of that shit. I don't want to get anywhere near those legal injection sites.
Yeah.
But I suppose if it's stopping people from getting AIDS, which I feel like that was the number one reason for it, giving people clean needles and giving them the same safe place to like shoot up in, and if they did croak, an ambulance could come like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems better than people sharing needles in alleys and leaving the needle on the street.
What do you say though to play devil's advocate? What do you say to people who argue that all you're doing is enabling by doing that?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody in their right mind ever said, "Oh fuck, they got free injection sites. Well, I'm gonna start using heroin now."
Did you ever?
Now it's so much better. The only obstacle in my way was the alley. I didn't like that.
No, but what I mean is you're enabling the people already using it. So people like to argue that the people already using it, by setting up these sites, you're making it easier for them. So now they're never gonna quit.
I think you're making it safer for them.
Yep.
You're not making it easier for them to obtain the drug.
No.
They still have to obtain it through shady ways, whatever the fuck they do. You're just giving them a clean needle, and a safe spot to do it. Which, I think if that keeps people out of the hospital, is probably worthwhile, just in terms of dollars. Granted, drug addicts can have all kinds of health problems anyway, but if you can stop the spread of AIDS, I don't know what it costs to treat the average AIDS patient. So, I mean, if you can minimize people getting bloodborne illnesses, it's probably better overall for the entire health of the community. And if you can keep needles off the streets and out of the alleys, I like that. I have to work in Vancouver.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't like needles in the alleys. If these guys can go to a fucking safe injection site and shoot up there, and the needle gets disposed of properly, that's good to me.
What would you say if
The grossest thing you can see on the fucking ground in the city street is condoms and needles.
Yeah, I agree.
Fucking gross.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
What would you say then to the argument of legalizing all drugs?
Legalizing?
Basically the argument that you're a grown man, you can do whatever you want. Obviously not in public. You're not allowed to shoot up in public. But if you want to go buy some heroin and do it in the comfort of your own home and trip out for the night, like, do you think that should be something that's illegal?
I don't know. I think you should look at things. There isn't a solution for all.
I'm not saying a solution. I just mean
of anything.
Do you feel like that it would
I don't
make
think
things worse?
I don't think you should lock people up for drug use.
No.
However, I don't think you should be able to buy meth at a London Drugs.
No. Okay. I could agree with that.
Right.
But I do feel like if you legalized, educated, and like that, I agree. There are certain synthetic drugs where you're just like,
they got no place. They're not doing any good for anyone.
No, I completely
There are
agree.
drugs that are just bad.
But I mean, is meth from what I've heard, and Adderall are basically the same thing.
Well, it does not seem like that
They're
to me.
just one
from like an uneducated point of view. I've never looked into it.
No.
But it seems like there's a big difference between people taking Adderall and people taking meth.
Yeah, one's prescribed.
But just on a visual, if you look at two people that are I don't think those are the same drug because they seem to have different outcomes.
Yeah, because it's a different person.
You can tell the difference between a fucking crackhead.
But there's also a different person who's buying the meth than that's buying the Adderall, right? The person buying the Adderall has money, is probably fairly set up. They can afford the prescriptions.
I don't even know if you can get Adderall here anyway.
There's something along those lines that you can get here. I'm sure there is.
Maybe.
I guess the reason I ask is because I had
It just seems to be a difference.
I was having this argument. Actually, I haven't checked to see if she replied on Facebook with this woman, And it got into the whole drug situation, and she was just basically saying drugs are bad, blah, 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 but at the same time she was arguing
There needs to be regulation
for guns to be legal, right? This was an American woman. And my thought on it is...
in arguments with Americans? It's fun. We're different countries. We get different laws.
It's interesting.
Is this just a random person?
Yeah, just some person who commented on a post, and I seen it, and I, put my 2 cents in. I didn't attack. I just put my cents in, and I said drugs aren't the problem. People are the problem. You don't get addicted to drugs because of the drug. You get addicted to the drug because you're trying to fucking mask something. Anyway, and it went from there. She got into guns and da 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 da. And I basically said, I was like, so you're for legalizing guns, but you're against legalizing drugs. Both of which, when used correctly,
are legal there.
Can be very safe and can help, well, not necessarily help, but both guns and drugs, when used irresponsibly, can be fatal. Both guns and drugs, when used responsibly, for the most part, can actually create, for some people, very profound experiences, or, just a trip, or just some fun.
Yeah, but, I like, for the most part, Canadian gun law.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be doing pretty good. Guns are legal. You gotta have a license, and you gotta have a permit to buy a gun.
Yeah.
Or you at least have to have a license.
Yep.
And that seems to work a lot better than the old, buy them at Walmart with a gallon of milk deal that they have in America.
I don't understand why.
But drugs, there are. Drugs are used widely in our medical system anyway, and some are really good. But even if, take for example marijuana, where you have to have a permit if you're going to go the legal route, you have to have a license to buy marijuana.
Yep.
Yeah, they could do that for some other drugs, but I don't know. There are a lot of bad, fucking shitty drugs.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but that's where I really do think that being open, honest, educating about these drugs instead of hiding behind just scare tactics in school would be a lot more effective than just saying just say no and leaving it be there. Is basically what we learned in high school and elementary. Just say no.
Yeah.
Like drugs will you smoke marijuana, you're gonna become a crack addict, which is so far from the truth that now when you see that, like, I feel like you put that mentality, that idea into people's heads, and I think it can actually steer you in that direction. You smoke it, you think you're going crazy when really you're not, and now all of a sudden you think you've lost your mind, and people are telling you.
Well, we're talking very broadly here, and when you say drugs, it's a hard conversation to have because it's really broad. Marijuana shouldn't be looked at. Shouldn't even really be talked about in the same conversation as crack or meth or heroin.
Yeah, I completely agree.
They're different topics. I think ideally marijuana should be treated just the same as alcohol, and maybe even sold in the same store.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't understand why it would be any different, because 100% it's not even close to as bad for you.
Yeah.
It's way better for you.
But when you say all drugs should be legal, I don't think they should be selling crack in the liquor store.
No, but it should definitely not be something you get, like you said, you don't get put in jail for. As
long as you're not hurting other people
exactly.
And you're only hurting yourself. But I mean that's kind of there's some drugs you just wish were never invented, like drugs like meth. The world would be better if meth had never been invented. I
couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
it's a useless drug.
It doesn't do anything for it; just destroys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, but that's shit. People are never going to stop creating fucking drugs. It's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're like what you said earlier. The problem isn't necessarily the drug. The problem is, why did the person start taking the drug in the first place?
Yeah, exactly.
Which has always been the problem. It's the same with alcohol. I mean, alcohol may not be the problem. Is why did the guy become an alcoholic? I guess some people, they say, are predispositioned to it. Other people have a lot of heartbreak in their life and whatever.
Did you hear about this? The 3 men trying to videotape Pacific Center.
Nope.
Did you hear about this? So apparently there was 3 men. This was on January 12th around 6:30. They said cameras caught this. It seemed suspicious, and they've basically said that they're investigating 3 men videotaping throughout Pacific Center Mall in Vancouver.
Were they brown?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Lucky guess? I did not hear about that.
That's what it looks like from what I've seen. I mean, not a lot of information's out yet. I just seen this today, but...
Well, whatever. We'll see what happens. Did you hear... Back to the drug thing. Did you hear about the people in France that died today?
I just seen that just now for the first time.
Okay,
Did you
so
read about it?
I didn't read about it. I just got a 30-second blurb on the radio. There is some drug trial in France. I think they gave this drug to 90 people, volunteers.
Yep.
They tested it on rats, and I think they tested it on monkeys or whatever. So they're like, okay, everything seems to be going fine. Let's test it on people. And how many, does it say in that article? 12 people died?
6 hospitalized, 1 of them brain dead.
1 brain dead. Woo! Sucks for that guy.
So she did not give information about the drug and denied reports it was a cannabis-based painkiller. Okay, now what about this? CNN.
That seems odd.
1 person has
What
been
kind of a
killed.
cannabis-
Listen to what CNN is saying about it. 1 person has been killed in a possible terror attack on a factory in the Isère area of southeastern France, a local government official said Friday.
That's a different story.
Is it? Well, it's under the same thing. It's under the same heading.
That's a terrorist attack, and the other one's a drug thing.
But then why the hell are they under the same thing?
I don't know.
So, and Facebook, they have this like trending part, right? So the stuff that people are talking about, you click on it. When you click on that,
Well, it did not sound like the same story.
that's what came up. Oh, okay, this is something different.
Yeah.
Huh? Why the hell is the same? Anyway, yeah, that's sad. I wonder what. You
don't hear about that very often.
Never.
Those things are usually pretty darn safe. By the time it gets to people, they've worked out. They're like, we're pretty darn confident this is good enough to give to people now. None of the monkeys died. So
They still, yeah. I would like to know what it is that they were testing.
well, with the new drug.
Hmm.
Who knows what it was though? That's what Steve-O used to do. He used to get paid to
Do drug tests?
do drug tests.
That's probably one of
like
the-
we've created this new pharmaceutical. We'll give you $1,000 if you take part in this trial,
Yeah.
and that's a risky business to be in, though,
I wonder.
because you could get brain dead. At the very least, you get rashes
Yeah, but
or
when you
some
think about
long-term
someone like
illness.
Steve-O, like that's probably one of the things he's done that's like the least harmful to himself.
I don't know about that. That shit sounds freaky. Doing a drug trial experiment? That's a big risk.
Yeah.
Especially if you're only getting $1,000.
Yeah, it would have to be very financially beneficial to me for me to do something like that.
What would be your number to
Well,
risk
well,
brain
it-
death?
Depend what if the percentage of brain death is like 25%.
It's
I'm not doing it.
It's never happened before, but it's always a possibility.
Probably a few million.
A few million? All right.
Probably. If it was something where you had like say a 5% chance of dying, I'd probably want it, actually maybe more. I'd probably want enough money to like
You'd risk your life for $5 million?
10 mil?
10 million?
I don't know. That's what I mean. What's the percentage risk, right? If it's a 5%,
I don't think they don't. There isn't. I don't think they can ever put a number on that. It's an unknown.
that would be a tough one then, I would say.
Well, you haven't done it so far.
I've never even heard of I've never even seen anything ads for like drug trials.
I don't know where you would go. You probably go to like some college or university or something to
I
find out about that shit.
Would definitely like to I want to give blood, but that's completely different, right?
Yep.
But have you ever given blood?
No, for years and years I was not allowed because I was born in Britain.
Oh, how
And
long?
also because I've been to Africa.
Oh, right. But how long was that? Like, they can't be that long of a
Well,
ban.
I believe now that if you were born in Britain, now that doesn't matter anymore. You're allowed to give blood. But I'm not sure. The part about going to Africa may still uphold. Like, just in case you have Ebola or something. Apparently, there's some new mosquito virus going around. Causes birth defects. You hear about that?
No, I did not hear about that.
I can't remember what the name of it is. It started in it's an African mosquito disease, but it's gotten into South America and it's worked its way up. I think one person died in Texas. But
there's only been one death.
Yeah, but it's pretty treatable. But I think if you get it while you're pregnant, the child is born with an abnormally small head.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how do you?
It's from mosquitoes.
I know, but how do you know you have it?
Pink eye, rash, diarrhea. I can't remember. You got any of those symptoms, Coco?
Nope. That's fucking gross, though. those aren't very good symptoms. They're definitely going to know that something's wrong with you if those are three things that are going on at the same time.
Remember all the hysteria a few years ago about West Nile? Now you don't even hear about it anymore?
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff. Same with Ebola. They come in waves like that.
Well, Ebola was fucking scary, though.
I was never that scared that it was coming here.
No, but that's
the
a
hysteria
scary
in
disease.
the States was ridiculous.
That's a scary disease, though. West Nile, not so scary. There's so many fucking things out there that can kill you. The trouble is they put all of them on the news and give you something fucking new to freak out about every day. Because that makes people hit the website. I gotta find the symptoms.
You gotta find out what's wrong. How do I protect myself?
Yeah, I have an ear. I thought I had an earache. My throat full of fighting today. Oh my god, I've got it. Yeah. Well, I'm out of things to talk about.
The only other thing I was gonna say, did you hear? Walmart is closing like 200 and something stores
in Canada.
No, in the States.
Really?
Apparently, yeah. It's not even. Oh, it was on here before, but it's not on here now. But yeah, 239 stores, 18,000 people will be out of a job.
18,000 people from 239 stores?
Yeah. Sounds about right. They're massive stores. Like at any given time, they probably have like every store has probably 100 people working ish, 50 to 100. Say even if it's 50, at least 50 with cashiers and people.
So each store has like 1,000 employees.
Each store probably has like I would say 300.
Well, you said 200 stores. And 18,000 people are going unemployed?
Yeah, were we doing math now? Fuck that noise. No bother. All right, well, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is actually the last episode of Rambling with Ryan. We're going to be going back to Real Talk with Adam and Coco next week or the week after when we do the next one. So we will see you guys next week.